today on the show, we have Reed Alton from OSYRON, and we got some Canadian whiskey to commemorate the occasion, and we're drinking that for you. And we're just gonna jump right into it because I know you have some places to be. So just get right to the questions. All right. So
Sure.
your lyrics. We just want to get right into that. You talk a lot about Canada. You've done the Canadian national anthem, I think, for a ski resort, but you also have a lot of commentary on past, policies that the Canadian government has done. Any and all thoughts on that? Can you just talk about your lyric writing process?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess in regards to the Canadian topic, I think especially as Canucks and not being necessarily at the forefront of a lot of heavy metal in regards to kind of the global aspect of things, and obviously being right next door to the States and having a lot of influence from Europe, we always get to hear a lot about the history of, the United States of America or, Europe and even other parts of the world. And, we just always felt like there was something missing in regards to maybe our voice and our history and, our history and that being portrayed, maybe in metal. So I think that was a big part of it for us. And then as well, just other lyrics and other topics. I think it's just whatever's on our mind and whatever's in the moment. So, I guess it's just on the Canadian aspect of things. We just wanted to really bring our culture and our history to the forefront. The best way we could do that is through heavy metal.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody who's? I mean, we don't know a lot of Canadian history. It was not taught to us. What are some of the darker sides of Canada? Because the only thing that we ever see is like Canadians are nice people. They work hard. That's all we sort of get. So what about Canadian history is something that people don't know about in other parts of the world?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's something that as Canadians we're coming to terms with and only recently starting to really accept and bring to the forefront. The cultural genocide, the assimilation, and the actual of the people, like the genocide of the peoples of the first peoples of Canada. I think that has been kind of the major point of our history that's now being viewed as very dark and something that we're trying to come to terms with and trying to accept. We have this whole movement of truth and reconciliation right now in regards to First Nations, the Métis, and the Inuit people of Canada. We do try and have that a part of our culture and history, and I think we're a long way from having it done the correct way or having it maybe at the forefront. But I'd say that's probably the biggest one. Is we still have a big population of First Nations people and Inuit and Métis people here, and the hereditary aftermath of the colonization of the country and how things were handled and the genocides and the assimilations and it's really dark. It's really messed up. Am I allowed to swear on your show?
Please do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's downright fucked up shit. Like it's horrible. And so we like to throw that into some of our lyrics as well because it is dark. It is heavy. It is a horrible thing. And we know in metal that us being the most heavy and brutal genres out there, there's no better way to exemplify your disdain or disgust or hate towards a certain thing, such as the history of this dark history of Canada, than through our music and through our genre. So, yeah, I'd say that's probably up there. I mean, there's other things. Every country's got dirty laundry. Every country's got crap. But I know for me personally and for the band, that's something that we definitely try and bring to the forefront.
Yeah, and you started with the band a little bit later, if I'm remember that correctly. So this was basically an instrumental project at first. And how did you get involved? What's your background in singing? How did you meet the other guys? What was the process like for you?
Yeah, so I joined the band in 2016, and the band, I mean, technically, if we want to go like way back to the roots, like the band's been around for a long time, but it was under different names. Bobby and Krzysztof, who are the guitarists in the band, they started the band years and years ago. in Ontario, out east from where we're based out west. And for those who don't know, Canada's a really fucking big country, so ways away, ways away. Anyway, long story short, they rebranded themselves and renamed themselves and started over anew in Western Canada back in 2012. So they did one album with Bobby singing, and that's Harbinger. So it wasn't fully instrumental. It was Bobby singing, but just because I like to joke around with Bobby, it should have been instrumental. But just he'll get the joke. He's an Oilers fan. Like I'm a Calgary Flames fan. He's an Oilers fan. So we have a huge rivalry with our hockey team. So fuck that guy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah. Anyway, I joined the fold in 2016. Tyler joined the fold in 2016. He's the bassist and multi-instrumentalist and our mixing engineer. He's a super talented individual. And then Cody joined the band a few years after that when we were in the midst of changing drummers. So that's kind of how I got into it. I discovered them online and I was like, holy crap, I can't believe there's a band in my neck of the woods that sounds this way. Obviously it wasn't, the sound hadn't been involved yet into what we are today, but yeah, the first time I heard them, I was like, this is so dope. I can imagine myself singing over it. And yeah, the rest is history.
Did you reach out to them specifically?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was like a spry 20-year-old, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I want to be in your band. Can I audition? I was like in between projects and stuff, and they were like, sure, let's give her a shot. And I laid down a few demos. I remember one of them being To War, which is on our record Kingsbane. And they just said, yeah, hell yeah, let's meet up. And we got absolutely plastered one night at a pub. And we were just telling everyone in the pub that we were a band now. And so that's how I joined. I didn't actually really like formally audition. I just kind of sent in a demo, and then I don't know. I got hammered with the boys, and that's just kind of how it worked out.
That's great. Were you singing a lot before then? Were you in bands? Were you? I mean, what was your background before preceding that?
Yeah, so I've started singing in bands kind of when I was like 16, 17. I was a drummer first, but I always wanted to be up at the front, and I always thought that I didn't think I had a great voice, but I thought I could hold a tune, and I was like, I want to try being a front man. I think I'd be good at it. And yeah, I was in a couple bands. I was in a 80s hair metal cover band when I was like 19, 20. Everyone in the band was like 40, 50 years old, and I was like this like young dude up there screaming my ass off, singing like Def Leppard and Bon Jovi and all that kind of shit. And that really like helped shape me. It kind of helped shape my voice for longevity and stamina and stuff, because I was doing like 3-hour shows a night and singing all that shit. Like it's so brutal, right? Like just so many high notes, and then yeah, and then it just kind of led me into OSYRON, and I just kind of adapted my style as we evolved as a band, as a collective. So I'm a product of the band as well. Like I'm a product of how we've evolved as a band.
Yeah, and you guys are kind of in a good way, kind of all over the place, and it seems like you're really on your own path of like just trying to keep it creative. What is what were like sort of the first thoughts, or like what was the first kind of direction that maybe people in the band said that they wanted to go in? Like any bands that you're trying to, I guess, maybe emulate? What were the first sort of conversations around creating something together with the guys?
Yeah, I guess the first real collaborative effort was Foundations, because Kingsbane had already been written by Bobby and Christoph before myself or Tyler was ever in the band. And then when we joined, we just kind of added it in. Like I added in a lot of melodies for the vocals, but the lyrics were already written. Tyler added his own spin on stuff. So Foundations, Cody had joined the band on drums, and we finally kind of clicked as a collective. And it wasn't fully collaborative, but we definitely were starting to share ideas and starting to kind of form a direction. And that's where I think that the band really was born, was kind of Foundations. And then subsequently it led into Momentous, where we really started to work together on songwriting, making sure that we were being smart with our choices, and then also just kind of being objective to our music and saying, hey, like, does this actually really belong with our style? Like, it's a cool idea, it's a cool section, but I don't think it really fits our style. And I think that that's what we find on Momentous, our most recent effort, is that it's our first true representation of our collective sound and our genre and our style, and which I'm super excited for the next album that we're going to be working on here in the next year, because I've already heard some ideas and some demos from some of the guys, and it's like, yeah, this is who we are, and it's really fucking cool to see, because it's like, yeah, it's taken a bit, but we finally kind of sat in on our own, trying to carve out our own piece of the pie. You know what I mean? Like I think we're starting to really kind of figure that out. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Did you work with, going into kind of the recording process now, and you mentioned that you have, within the band you guys know how to record, but did you work with somebody who did the Witcher soundtracks? Is that
Yeah,
talk about that? That's sick. How did that
yeah,
happen?
yeah. So yeah, so I don't know if you're much of a gamer. Like in OSYRON, Bobby and Christoph are like big time gamers. They've been gaming everything you can imagine. Like I think Bobby right now is supposed to be at work, but he's probably playing Diablo 4. Like that's probably just what he's doing right now. Like again, he's an Oilers fan. Fuck that guy. It doesn't matter. So anyway, yeah. So obviously the guys are big fans of the Witcher, the game, as well as the books, and up until recently the TV series, because I personally I think it's kind of gone downhill. But yeah, we just kind of were like, I think it was Bobby said, wouldn't it be cool if we got the guys who did the music for the video games to be on a couple of our tracks? And because they're from Poland, Percival's from Poland, and Krzysztof is Polish. He's a Polish Canadian. We're like, man, wouldn't that just be awesome if Krzysztof reached out and just said, hey, like, I mean, obviously in Polish, and trying to make it more kind of friendly and stuff. Like, if we found worked out a deal and whatever, like, would you be down to be on the record? And they heard the demos, they heard the music, and said, fuck yeah, like this is cool. Which made it really awesome for us, because we felt like we had a product that was really really cool if they were willing to work on it, because they're you know highly acclaimed in their own right. So yeah, we just reached out, we sent some ideas back and forth, and they just did their thing, and it sounds so cool. Like you hear the beginning of the Deafening, Anunnaki, Momentous, and they're on throughout bits of those songs too, but really the intros, and you're like, man, it just sets the tone for what the song's about. It's so dark, and it's so eerie and creepy, but it's kind of like it's kind of got this, like, I don't know, it's kind of sexiness to it too. Like I don't know, it's just really cool. Like I'm so glad we made that decision, and I'm so glad they were willing to work with us, and they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal at what they did, and they're awesome professionals. So we're super happy with it.
Yeah, that was actually one of the first things I noticed. Yeah, Michael, the producer over here, when he sent you guys along, I had not heard of you yet, but I was playing some tracks upstairs with my housemate, and we're like, damn, this kind of sounds like Witcher a little bit. I was literally the first thing we said, and I talked to Michael about that, and he's like, you're never gonna believe it. And
That's awesome.
that's such a cool aspect. So they played strings on it, and they kind of helped morph
Yeah.
it. That was the. And I'm sure they play some weird instruments. Hey, this is Zen. Hope you're enjoying the show. Just make sure to like, subscribe, and if you like interviews with artists and creators, just support the show. The easiest way to do that is just follow us anywhere you can: Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, Zen Perry Project. It's easy to find. We appreciate you watching it, and here is the show. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's like instruments that like you and I as North Americans, we'd like look at it and we'd be like, oh, that looks like a whatchamacallit. But to them, there's probably a really cool name, or it's got a cool history. And I'm sure if Christoph was here, he'd be able to maybe be a little bit more specific with it, because there's a lot of traditional Slavic folk instruments and scales, and like he knows a lot more about that than I do. But yeah, it's so beautiful, and I'm so glad that that's etched in stone, and it's forever entwined with our sound and what we're about.
yeah, it adds to the whole thing. It worked perfectly. What so kind of going, you were mentioning Kingsbane. Your music videos are over the top. They are so cool. And
Thanks.
you guys really put in a lot of work and time into these. And I guess you filmed most of them during the pandemic, or lockdown or whatever. What was the process of that like? How did they end up so good? Like they look like feature films.
Oh shit. Well, thank you. And you're speaking specifically about Momentous, or you're just talking about kind of a lot of them?
just all of them, like kind of what, because you have you have a ton of music videos. What was your, I guess, your process of like what made you guys want to do music videos so much, and like how did those conversations start? Who did you start working with, and how did you start collaborating on the whole visual aspect from the first music videos that you guys did together?
Yeah, well, I think a when it comes to the actual music videos themselves and making them happen, um, we we view that as just as integral as the music itself, because it's just another piece to the overall artistic statement or what you're trying to represent. So we do a lot of music videos now. Obviously, during the pandemic, we had a lot of time on our hands to do those things, and get creative and think outside of the box. We had to. We didn't have a lot of money, so we had to think like, how can we make the best product with the cheapest amount of materials or least amount of stuff. So that's a true testament to the people we worked with, and that's Zach, Kelly, and Seth Williams, um, two great directors based here in Southern Alberta, where we're based, and willing to work with us with what we have, our budget, our time. So it's a collaboration of the band just being like, we want to put these ideas forward, we have these visions, and then them telling us, A, that's fucking stupid, that'll never work, or that's ridiculous, or B, okay, but we don't have the money, let's make it work with what we have. So we've had a wide range of videos that have cost us like, maybe a grand all in, which is nothing, to the Deafening, which cost like $15,000. Which was, and that music video is just, it's very special. It's a very wonderful kind of highlight of the overall experience that was Momentous, and getting it ready and releasing it and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a big part of it, and we love doing it. And I think it's fucking fun. I love doing it. I love kind of acting all tough and pretending like I'm some kind of crazy long-haired heavy metal motherfucker and going out there and tearing shit up. I think it's a fun thing to do once in a while. So
Newsflash, you kind of are. So that's
I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, I watch a lot of hockey. I'm all into a lot of Lord of the Rings lore, and I've never heard a fly. The only time I've ever gotten fights was on the ice. That's it. That's the only time I've ever gotten to fights was on the ice, dropping the gloves.
Hockey is the most metal sport. I would say like that and rugby.
Hey, you're speaking my language now. That's 110%. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Hockey's fucking awesome.
I'm not a huge sports fan, but anytime I see hockey playing on TV, I'm like, oh shit. And my family's from Detroit, so they're all Red Wings people. So.
Yeah.
I love watching guys just careen into each other at 40 miles an hour on the ice. Like what's better than that?
Yeah.
And they don't have teeth, and it's great. So yeah, these music videos, kind of going back, reining it in a little bit. These music videos are just like absolutely incredible, and I'm hearing even the $15,000 budget for that is not even that much for the sort of output that you guys have. But I think it shows the whole cohesiveness of like your guys' vision really brought it together, because I feel like when people don't know what they want, that's when things start costing exorbitant amounts, because you're just putting all this into somebody else's hands. But it seems like you guys have a good vision for the band. So your vocal stylings, you're all over the place. You have like a soft crooning, you have loud, you have the scream, and these songs are really like textured. Where do you think you kind of got your vocal range from, being back in these 80s cover bands, or who were some of your biggest inspirations vocally?
Yeah, I guess in regards to range, I think it's a mix of two things. I think it's one, I'm a little lucky that maybe my voice lent itself to that. By no means am I saying that anything that I've ever strived for or that I work towards is easy, because it's not. But I think I'm a little lucky that way, because there's some people that are born naturally with higher voices, some people are naturally with lower voices. I think I'm somewhere kind of in the middle, where I'm able to kind of touch on a lot of stuff. So I think I'm lucky that way. And then a lot of it is just determination, and not giving up, and never taking no as an answer, right? Like we don't even know the limitations of the human body. I don't know if I'll ever get there when it comes to my voice, but I'm always trying. So in regards to that technicality standpoint and the vocals, I think it's just me never ceasing, at trying to obtain something better or cooler or unique or different. But to answer the question about the influences, I guess a lot of it stems from like the traditional heavy metal bands, like the Iron Maidens, the Priests, the Queensryche, um, all the way to like rock. Like I love a lot of the Soundgarden, like a lot of Chris Cornell, Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, Oasis. I fucking love Oasis, though I don't sound like Liam Gallagher. And then yeah, a lot of like crazy singers like Stu Block, who we got the pleasure to work with. I've been listening to him since I was like 15. Benji Webb from Skindred or Dub War, he's unbelievable. Um, yeah, I don't know, like just anytime I ever heard a voice, I was like, I want to do that. And not saying that I ever did, but I kept trying. So I always looked for singers that were super unique and cool and just off the beaten path, because that was always just super cool for me.
What do you think your 3 Desert Island albums are?
Oh fuck, that's a tough one. I don't know, man. I'd probably have to get back to you on that. Like I probably got like a list of like 50 of them, but I
What
don't know,
album do
just to
you
kind of
listen to most? What album do you think you've listened to most in your lifetime?
well, Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains is up there.
So good,
Um,
so good.
it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable. Um, I'd have to say, just because of how many times I've listened to it, maybe Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses, just because I was like instrumental when I was growing up. Um, maybe Number of the Beast, like Iron Maiden. I mean that one's up there for sure. But I don't know, man. Like I think Blue by Joni Mitchell's fucking dope. I think it's Sometimes by City and Color. Like there's a couple chill ones. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring soundtrack. Howard Shore, fellow Canadian. I mean, gotta fucking throw a bone over there. I don't know. Like it's too much, man. That's a tough question. That's a rough one.
That's fine. That was a great answer. Um,
Thanks.
so you guys played on a cruise ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that? What was it like? First off, what was it like playing on a cruise ship? And then what was it like playing on a heavy metal cruise ship? Like, what was that whole experience like for you?
Yeah. Well, 70,000 Tons of Metal has really grown into a premier metal festival and a really unique one of its kind. Playing with 60 bands from around the world. We were the only Canadians on the like the only Canadian band, I should say. There's a lot of Canucks that go down there and party. Um, but we were the only Canadian band on the bill. The experience was unforgettable, probably just because we were the underdogs, or I guess right now in our career we feel like underdogs, and we like that because you know we're not by any means or any stretch of the imagination very massive or successful, and it was really cool being on the ship with a bunch of bands that are that have been and we look up to and we've been listening to for so long, and some of them are influences of ours, like Insomnium or Nightwish or Evergrey, um, Camelot. Uh, so just to see them day in and day out, how they handle themselves professionally, how they handle themselves on stage, how well they perform, um, that was super special. That was something that to just be right up there with them all, to learn from them, to talk to some of them. It was definitely a really beautiful experience. And then just to hang out with people from around the world that love heavy metal and want to wear all black and be out in like you know unbelievable heat and just rock out to heavy metal all the time. That was super cool too. So it was a great experience, great time.
Absolutely. What's next for you guys?
Well, we got this really cool tour coming up here in support of Seven Kingdoms, so we're really looking forward to that. We leave in a couple of days, which is pretty exciting. First time touring through the states, so we're stoked. Um, as well as going to Czechia, we're going to the Czech Republic to do a festival over there, which is really cool. And then do some Eastern Canadian dates as well. So we're excited for this tour coming up, and then we're gonna be focusing on this next album. We're gonna be doing a lot of writing, demoing, trying to make the next greatest heavy metal record of all time. I know that's what everyone tries to do and everyone strives for, but that's what we're going to do. And yeah, so that's kind of over the horizon right now. So we're just really looking forward to that, and a lot of good things, a lot of positive things over the next 6 to 12 months.
Hell yeah. What do you think your idea of success is for yourself?
Well, I have a goal. Like, it's just me personally. I don't know. I'm not speaking on behalf of the guys, so that's for sure. It's just my own opinion. But my idea would be if I can buy a plot of land somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and go have some goats running around and some dogs running around and have a family out there, and I'm able to do that with music, then I'd say that's pretty successful. So that's all that I'd ever want, is just to be completely self-sustaining on that. And then also just to have a piece of art that means something to someone in a very deep emotional and in a very connecting way. I think that's, if I can achieve that, then I think I've achieved all that I could ever dream of achieving in this trade and in this business. So and as an artist. So I think that'd be kind of the main things for me.
Absolutely. And you kind of mentioned earlier that you feel like the underdogs, and you were playing on this cruise ship, and I'm sure you've played plenty of shows where you feel like you're learning constantly from playing with somebody who's technically bigger, quote unquote. What do you kind of do when you maybe feel like you're maybe not, when you have that voice of doubt in your head of like, what am I doing, like why am I doing this? Or when you see somebody who's technically more successful, maybe doesn't seem like they're working as hard, what do you do when you kind of doubt yourself?
I go right into the competitive athlete mindset, and I'm not competing against the other band, but what I tell myself is, say, you're going to be the greatest singer on the bill tonight, so go out there and fucking prove it. Now, not saying I ever do or that I nail it or anything, but that's what I'm telling myself. And I've sang on the same bill as some incredible singers that are far more successful and far more talented than I am. But that's what I tell myself day in and day out, is like, even if I'm not 100%, I'm like, go out there and fucking lay it all out there. Like, don't bitch out, give it all you got, prove that you deserve to be here. So that's what I do, and I think the band kind of follows suit. I think the band is like, yeah, like let's show them that we're the greatest heavy metal band in the world. Are we? Well, that's for everyone else to decide. That's not up to us, but that's what we try and do. So,
fuck yeah. Any last words for anybody listening? Any fans out there? Any potential new fans?
Yeah, just hopefully we're coming through your city or town. We wanna leave our stamp where we go, and we want to meet a lot of new people, and that's the best part about touring in a band, is you get to meet people from around the world, and we can't wait to be down through the States and into Europe and get to meet some new fans, make some new friends. That's the most exciting thing for me. So, if I'd say to everyone, give us all you've got. Don't leave anything out there on the floor, and I promise you that we're going to give it all we got and not leave anything else on the stage.
Well, hell yeah. Reed Alton of OSYRON, it's been such a pleasure talking to you today. Thanks for taking the time, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks very much. You as well, and enjoy the Canadian whiskey. Enjoy the rye.
Oh, we will. Thanks very much. Talk to you soon. Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you when you come to New York City.
Fucking A. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys at the Mercury Room?
Yeah. Yep. Mercury Room.
Fucking A. Okay, cool. I can't wait to be down there. I haven't been to New York since I was like 17, so it should be pretty cool.
It's going to be a different experience this time. You're going to like it.
All right. Cool, man. All right, well, see you guys there. Take care. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Later, dude.